Hello and welcome back to another episode of MacStories Unwind. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Picks. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm doing really well. We've got another little unwind to talk about today. I don't know. I wanted to kick off since I've had Prime Day on my mind this week.
Yes.
As the Prime Day guru at MacStories, I wanted to see if you bought anything this year.
I did.
Of course you did.
I sure did.
What'd you get?
Hold on, let me grab. There's a couple of things, okay?
Okay, cool.
This would be a good time to switch to the video version of Unwind. So this is a simple one. This is a cable, USB-C cable. It's a 240 watt USB-C cable by Ugreen that has a tiny display on it that shows you the wattage and the ampere stuff when you're charging, and it's 3 meters long. So I
3 meters is good. That's nice to have that built right in like that.
Yeah,
the little display.
Something like, it was so annoying that my longest cable was like 2 meters, and whenever I'm working in the living room, it just wasn't enough to go from the power socket behind the corner to the side of the table where I want to sit. Because when I'm working in the living room, I also want to keep an eye on the dogs on the sofa. And so I want to face the couch, right? But the cable was too short, so I got this for Prime Day, and it's perfect.
That's great that you already got it. I'm glad you already got it too. I mean, my stuff is mine's being delivered today, but I'll get to that in a moment.
The second thing I still need to install, but I tested it and it's working. Do you know what this is? And if I make it move?
I don't think I know what it is.
See that it's moving?
I see it moving now. I have no idea what that is, TG. What is it?
This is the Aqara E1.
Okay.
It's a controller for rolling shutters and curtains.
Oh.
The one that have a little chain on the side.
Yeah.
We installed one of those curtains in the bedroom because the light was leaking in from the outside. And we kind of wanted to cover everything in pure darkness as much as possible.
Sure.
But it's a manual chain on the side, right?
Yeah.
And that's no way to live, let's face it. I don't want to do the up and down twice a day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I have a dream of getting automated blinds in my house that close with the time of day and everything.
Yeah, so this requires the Aqara M3 hub because it's like a Zigbee 3 device.
I have one of those that I could give you.
Which I get. I also got. So I suppose that's another thing. It's in my home automation central.
I have a spare one of those, believe it or not. That's unopened.
So the idea is that I'm gonna fix this to the wall. This is the base plate that you can pull off, and I'm gonna fix this to the wall, and then you're just gonna run the little chain over this rotating dial, and this is gonna move the chain and therefore the blind up and down.
Yeah.
And you need to configure it in the Aqara app because you need to set like a start point and an end point.
Oh,
right?
Sure. So it doesn't keep trying to open them.
Otherwise, it just keeps going. Because it doesn't have a concept of start and end, right? It doesn't have a sensor that detects like force, for example. And you don't want to break the blind, obviously. So you need to carefully set up just the one time initially, the start zone and the end zone. And then that's it. You're just going to add it to the Aqara app, and then it bridges to HomeKit.
Nice.
So yeah, this is the other thing, the other small home automation project that we're gonna do. And what else? Let me think. Actually, let me look through my order history.
I know that's the easier way to go.
Easier way to go. Let's see, cable, the hub, I got a new Ethernet cable, and so because I was missing one. And I got a compatible Chinese brush for my Dyson vacuum. When I got this Dyson vacuum 2-3 years ago, it was like so new that you couldn't find spare unofficial parts on Amazon because it was a new model. And these Dyson vacuums, every few years or so, they change the adapters for the accessories. So in my case, when we got this one a couple of years ago, it was so new that the Chinese supply chain hadn't fully caught up on in terms of copying Dyson. Now they have, and you can get compatible accessories for so much cheaper,
Oh,
like
yeah.
half the price, and it looks exactly the same as the Dyson part minus the Dyson logo.
Yeah, no,
Otherwise, it's
I know exactly what you mean because we've done the same thing, and like we have the robot vacuum and mop from Narwhal, the X10 Pro, and I just bought something like that myself, which had the little spare mop heads and brushes and all the little parts. And last weekend I took the thing apart, kind of cleaned it, got all the junk and fluff out of the insides of it that was blocking it up, and changed all the parts, and it works much better now. You have to kind of do that, I think, with a lot of those things every 6 to 12 months, depending on what kind of rugs you have and things. Well, that's good. Those are good. Those are good purchases. I'm thinking, the thing about cables is people might think you guys must have more than enough cables. And it's like, it's true. I have more cables than I know what to do with. But I always find a reason to buy more cables because somehow I need more cables all the time, it seems like.
yeah, and the cables always change and improve, until
They do.
until
They
a few
do.
years ago. Remember when 45 watts was the maximum output
Right.
in terms of power? Now you can go all the way up to 240 watts.
Yeah,
So
240 is pretty good.
and the moment that you also get a new adapter, like you may think that it's I mean, it is a geeky thing to think about, but like you get a power adapter that is certified for 300 watts, and you plug in a bunch of the right cables, you can fully charge like 2 MacBook Pros at the same time at 96 watts. So
Yep.
that's a practical thing that saves you time and makes you work faster.
Yeah,
in the
no,
end.
it is good. I mean, I have the 200 watt Ugreen charging hub, and now they have a 300 watt one, which is on sale for Prime Day. And I was tempted, but I didn't get that. What I picked up this year was I picked up another battery, Federico. There's one over my shoulder that is,
can
and it's
see
very,
that.
it's very similar to that one. That one's different. That one just has USB-C and USB-A ports on it. I bought the same battery, but with standard US plugs in it. I think like 3, I want to say. And the reason I got that was for backing up my fiber router and Wi-Fi router that come into the house, on the first floor, so that I already have a battery backup for my computer setup that can run 7 or 8 hours. Now I'll have something for my Wi-Fi. So if the power goes out, it may get incredibly hot in this house in the summertime, but I'll still be in my office working away because I'll have
Wow.
both Wi-Fi and a computer.
Couple of thoughts. If the rapture ever happens, John will outlive us all because it'll be on power, and
I'll
the
still
rest
be
of us,
posting
with
is
all,
what I'll be
with all
doing.
your batteries, you'll be posting through it, and we're all gonna die, but you'll survive with all the batteries that you have.
I have a lot
And
of
the
batteries.
second thought is, I am not to give you any ideas or any additional projects, or maybe I do want that. I am surprised, given your affinity for batteries, that you have not yet set up like one of those fancy whole home battery units that like you hang on a wall
Oh, yeah.
and they recharge via solar and they power your entire house.
I did. I actually spec'd that whole thing
You
out.
did think about
Yes,
okay.
I
All right.
did, and I had actually a contractor spec it out for me
How
because they
expensive is it?
$30,000, which is a lot.
30K?
Which is why for the solar panels, the installation, and the batteries, big enough to it would have effectively run my house off the grid.
Did you
entirely.
try and reply, I'll give you 15K and try and gauge the reaction? Did you try
Yeah.
to haggle down for half the
Well,
price?
and that was, and I forget all the exact numbers. That was the upfront cost. A lot of that I would have gotten back through various programs through the U.S. government,
like
and
tax exemptions and
yeah,
stuff like that?
tax reductions and credits for both federal and state. Because the reason this was all happening and why I did it at the time I did was that it was all that was being repealed by Trump. So it was all going to go away at the end of last year.
Okay.
And
I have
so
a
you had
better
to-
idea. I have
What?
a better idea. You get a review unit from
Yeah,
a company that makes this, and you read an article on MacStories, and maybe we make a video for Unwind, and so you get it as a review unit.
Yeah, $9,000, $10,000 battery.
I mean, look, Apple is sending out review units of Mac Studios.
Which are now like $10,000 computers, all of them.
Possibly lots more. I don't see why a battery company cannot send you a review unit for a battery that powers your house.
Put some solar panels up there and everything. Yeah, no, so I didn't do it. It was the thing about all these tax incentives was that mostly you had to pay everything up front and then hope that you would get the rebates in the mail, basically.
I hate that.
I hate it. I was like, yeah, it's like, well, it's great that you give me all these subsidies for this thing. On the other hand, I still am going to be out of pocket that huge amount of money for some period of time.
Exactly. Like we have those programs in Italy. Like we have one for the shades that the awnings, I guess, that we installed outside. And it's the same idea. Like you do have to pay up front, and then you get a tax rebate eventually, like spread across multiple years. And it's like
that's what this.
I don't even feel that anymore. What I feel now is that I'm like $5,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, exactly. So let me round this out with two other items that I got. I got the Razer Wolverine V3 Pro wireless controller, which I think you have this one, right?
Yes, I still do. Replaced it with a Steam controller, but it's a really good one.
Yeah, it is a really good one. And they had it something like 40% off.
Oh, that's pretty good because it's an expensive controller.
It is an expensive controller. I got it for like $130 though, so that was pretty good. And then I got the Xtenic X3 ebook reader. Have you seen these little ebook readers?
Is that the thing that you put in the back of a phone?
Yes, but I got the developer edition, which allows you to hack it and put on alternative firmware. And there's some really good packages out there that I've read about recently. And I thought, I need.
Why?
I'm not
surprised. I'm not surprised.
I have a thing for e-ink too, along with batteries.
Custom firmwares.
And custom firmwares for sure. So it'll be fun to play with that and see. It's awfully small. I don't know how useful it'll be, but it was like $60. So I thought, it'll be a fun project and something I can write about down the road.
I like that. All right. Shall we share some picks for the weekend?
Yeah, we can share some picks.
I got a couple.
Good. Myself. I'm glad you have some picks. I'm a little thin, but I have a hardware pick.
Got you. Two games that I want to mention. 007 First Light and the new Star Fox game on Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, really?
I played a couple of the first missions this morning of Star Fox. It's immediately fun and low pressure and beautifully looking game. Like I think right now it's, especially when docked, it's probably the best looking Switch 2 game.
Oh, wow.
Stable 60 FPS. I haven't seen a single frame rate drop. The engine that they have used is really, really good, and I hope they get to reuse it for something else in the future. The game is just fun. Tons of enemies on screen.
What about the graphics? Everybody was making fun of the animals.
They look great. I think the first trailer didn't do them justice. I think especially when you see them in action and when you hear the really good voiceover. Like the voice acting is surprisingly well done. I think it all clicks together it's a solid game. Like I've seen a bunch of reviews kind of settle on an 8 out of 10. Like that's also my impression. Like it's a solid game, and it's one of those like simpler video games where you don't need to worry about an open world. You don't need to worry about a skill tree. You don't need to worry about DLC or like you just play and there's missions and there's a basic story to follow and that's it. Like
that's good.
Simple, engaging, fun. So that gets my recommendation so far. And 007 First Light. Now that game. I started playing on my Legion Go 2. I want to move to my gaming PC. The only problem is that it's very hot this week in Rome, and I don't want to turn on my gaming PC.
Yeah.
This game scratches the same itch that Uncharted games used to scratch for me years ago. It's an adventure game with some stealth elements and a really cinematic story. And
I love those kind of games.
Yeah, man. I think this is the kind of game for you because like it's simple. It's got a really good story. So it tells the story of the beginning of the James Bond character before he became 007. And so it's a young James Bond. And right from the beginning of the story, you're thrown into the action, and it looks great. And they have done, I don't want to spoil how it ends, but it's really like it plays and looks like a movie. And it's, I think, from what I've seen so far, they got this mix of stealth elements. I appreciate that even in the first mission, you can already choose your approach. Like you are in this enemy camp and you're supposed to rescue two groups of hostages, but you get to choose how to do it. Right, and they're very permissive with the checkpoints and being able to try again if they catch you and they kill you. Especially because in the first mission you don't have a weapon on you.
Oh, okay.
So you can just throw punches and kick people.
Yeah.
But if they catch you and they shoot at you, well, you have no defense. And you get to choose your approach, right? And so I needed to go into this container where a bunch of hostages were being held captive. And there were a couple of options, including like stealth killing the guards outside of the container, or just climbing down and then going up the other side and climbing on the roof and then going down like an opening on the roof. And so I, based on the reviews that I've seen so far, like this choose your approach type of gameplay mechanic, it looks like it'll only continue and grow even larger, which I appreciate. And then there's like the more bombastic action sequences, the driving sequences. I appreciate how, since you're not officially part of the Queen's Secret Service yet. You just happen to be thrown into this mission that is being handled by MI6, right? And MI6 notices you, and basically M calls you to the MI6 headquarters, and she's like, we want you to become a Secret Service agent, but before you do that, you got to do the training. And what's really clever is that they take you to Malta, where MI6 has this training base, and the tutorial for all the actual sort of mechanics of the game, like jumping, rolling, shooting, driving, is part of the training program with this very quick montage that shows James Bond doing the training over the course of 2 weeks. And I thought that was really nicely done. So
yeah, that's cool. I remember reading about that in the reviews. No, that sounds like a fantastic game.
I think this is the kind of game for you.
Yeah. What platform you're playing it on?
I'm playing on Steam.
On Steam. Okay. And is it on console too?
It's on PlayStation and Xbox. It's going to be on Switch 2 later this year, I think.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Well, I think we should leave it at that, Federico. I'll come up with a pick for next week, and I'll put an Unwind pick in the show notes. So take a look at that for a deal on some movie or TV show that's on sale on Apple TV. And in the meantime, go over to MacStories.net. Check out our Amazon Prime deals while they still last. I mean, Prime Day is going through Friday, so you'll see this episode perhaps before it's over, and go check out some of the things we bought and some of the other things we recommended. And of course, you can find us on social media. Federico is at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.